Hello everyone, welcome to the video of today. This is Beyond the Truth. Today we are going to be talking about the Vinca culture. The Vinca culture was spread over a territory larger than that of any Neolithic culture in Europe. It was the most technological advanced prehistoric culture with the earliest developed metallurgy and the oldest script. Yet even today it is surrounded by mysteries. The Vinca culture is one of the few early Neolithic cultures of southeastern Europe dating back to 5000 BCE that was, in the true sense of the word, flourishing. Vinca culture was the most technologically advanced prehistoric culture in the world, and it has the earliest attested evidence of metallurgy in Europe, as well as the oldest writing that were found at the Belovod location in eastern Serbia, Newsweek's reports. The figures left by the Vinca culture have been examined countless times, and among the many explanations for their purpose, the most extreme have gone as so far as to claim that the figures represent aliens. Although such explanations are dismissed, the mysteries surrounding the Vincian culture do not cease to intrigue and attract, although we have to admit that they do kind of look like the idea that we have about how aliens look like. In the same way as the Egyptian pyramids, the Vincian culture continues to inspire minds in search of answers to the origins of human civilization. I just don't get why it is not that well known, not as mainstream as some other cultures. The oldest habitats in Vinca most often have elliptical bases made from logs of wood and a tent-like roof made of wicker, reeds, and straw that lies directly on the ground. The huts are grouped according to a specific system around the central one and are reminiscent of the architecture of the Lipinski Fir culture. These two cultures appear to have shared the same traditions, attested by the anthropomorphic figures. You remember the alien-looking ones? The Vinca culture appeared somewhere around 4500 BC, and immediately after the cultural layer with the tent-like habitats, a new settlement appears, showing progression. Specialized activities have led to the economic rise, social stratification, and enrichment of the Vinca culture communities, which extended beyond the territory of any other Neolithic culture in Europe. Some of its settlements exceeded in size and population not only all of the Neolithic settlements at the same time, but also the first cities that arose much later in Mesopotamia, the Aegean, and Egypt. Some historians claim that Vinca was a city because it had been constantly inhabited for many generations. The population was active throughout the year, and there was a specialization of jobs. It can be said that it was a metropolis, since it was populated by a large number of inhabitants, that it was an economic and cultural center, that many smaller settlements were found in the immediate vicinity of Vinca, and evidence of intensive communication and exchange of goods, services, and people were found. But it is highly unlikely that it had all the characteristics that we associate with a city in the true sense, namely a large ceremonial center like a huge temple, or the like, and a ruling class with a king. The findings show that the first farmers of the Danube region belonged to a special anthropological type that combines the characteristics of the old European population with those of the gracious Mediterranean. The bearers of the Vinca culture had a mixed economy. Their main activities were animal husbandry and agriculture, but they were involved in hunting, fishing, and wildlife harvesting. The Vinca script. The meaning of the mysterious symbols carved on the pottery and figurines from the Vinca culture is still unclear. They have been studied for years by archaeologists and paleolinguists. It is assumed that they were probably marks, bale, pictograms, or a pictorial or phonetic letter. Some argue that in the Vinca script there is a system of signs and symbols resemble the Phoenician and Paleo-Hebrew scripts. Apart from the 4S, the oldest swastika, or rather the oldest carriage ever found, is found on an ivory 12,000-year-old figurine found in Mezin, Ukraine. This figure also belongs to Neolithic culture that spread throughout southeastern Europe with an imaginary center in Vinca. Among the ancient Vincentian artifacts, there is an abundance of archaeological material on which swastikas are engraved. Vincentian signs are usually straight cuts that are made on an already baked pan. They are located from the perimeter to the bottom of the vessel. To date, more than 1,000 fragments have been discovered on which these signs are engraved, and as symbols have been found in many places throughout Eastern Europe, most between 6,500 and 8,000 years old. Many scholars make Vinca the birthplace of the oldest script in the world. It has not yet been revealed to which group of peoples the bearers of this culture belonged, so it is extremely difficult to determine which language they spoke, which is a prerequisite for deciphering the Vinca phonetic script. Figurines and the gods of Vinca. Most of the ancient Vinca figures represent anthropomorphic humanoid beings in an abstract way with oval heads, huge eyes, which actually triggered speculation about aliens, while all the real question is how these figures formed are a representation of beings from across the stars. Artifacts of the Vinca culture have been found throughout southeastern Europe, with the main archaeological site located 50 kilometers from Belgrade. The excavations have yielded over 2,000 figurines that together make up the largest European collection of its type. These figurines most probably represent ancient deities or ancestors and were used during holidays or ceremonies. The fact that the Vinca culture flourished for several thousand years during the pores of the first ancient civilizations on the soil of Europe is a stumbling block for the theorists of development human society. Vinca is an intriguing and unfathomable proof that something unusual has happened in the Danube region, something that is yet to be discovered, studied, and understood. Most contemporaries still do not provide a satisfactory explanation of the Vinca culture, mainly because the remnants of this society are significantly more advanced than any other Neolithic societies. In other words, the people who lived in Vinca had a developed social system, religion, and art long before the first similar examples in the old world. Tell us what you guys think, and we'll see you next time.